control. So we're going to head in there for our first map between TSL and LGE. Thank you, Lafon. Kenobi, we're jumping in here. For those players or those who've been following Chinese contenders for a while, these two teams were almost kind of similar last season. They both went 3-0 in their or 0-3 in their quarterfinals matchup. They're both kind of middle of the road teams. But since then, LGE has so stepped it up. They're almost a completely new team. They're the best team map differential in the entire Contenders China region, up against TSL, who is mostly unchanged.
Yeah, and we're also already seeing from 666 Legend a new look from them. They're playing this DPS composition with the Hammond. DPS does have a Hammond that he's brought out from time to time, and he's usually good at it. Let's see what he can do. But Hager gets a nice hack onto Raphael to start. That's a really big pick.
Yeah, of course. You guys are already talking about how important Haker is to this LGE team, and just that one kill is enough for LGE to swing things in their favor and take the first capture.
Yeah, and the thing for 666 Legend here is they really have to make it so that they can take control of that high ground. I like that where LRC was at the start. He was taking that high ground with the soldier, but unfortunately, when you have someone like Haker, you have to always be aware of where the Sombra is, and there Raphael wasn't. He gets hacked, and the dive from the rest of Lingon Esports and the follow-up is very good, so he gets blown up immediately. And when you don't want to be in a 5v6 situation when it's DPS against a coordinated team like Lingon Esports.
Yeah, just the 76 pick here on this phase of Oasis is very, very, very far from standard here. You can see that there aren't many great sight lines for 76 to really hold, so the effectiveness isn't too great. But that being said, LRC is getting enough ult charge here to get things going for the visor, while JMac looking for more going in. Just that tank line is absolutely nuts for TSL. There's nowhere for them to run, and the sole tank for TSL, DPS going down. Raphael will pick up a kill, but LGE in firm control of the point.
And it's actually really nice as well to see Kami switch over to the Tracer here. You know, Kami has always had to play Brigitte a lot of the time, and here he's on the Tracer, already has that Pulse Bomb ready and available for himself, and he's doing a good job of matching the DPS from 666 Legend. He hasn't been hacked by MIR yet. He's been taking out Raphael as Molly takes out Raphael there. Raphael has had a very rough time so far on this Tracer room.
Yeah, and trying to do a lot of work on their own, so there's not a lot of support around them when they do go pretty deep. Got killed, and now it's just going to delay TSL even further as LG gets closer and closer to hitting the 100% mark. LRC does have the visor, but they've been sitting on it this whole round, and there aren't very many good places to use the visor unless they step onto the point. That just puts them in a ton of danger. There it is, though. The visor's going to come in, but no targets. Just trying to find somebody. The Tracer's going to distract them. JMac gets a kill in Hush in the meantime. And LRC has to fall back, getting as low as 32 HP, and that visor completely wasted.
And you know, I'm going to give JMac the benefit of the doubt there that he meant to use that bubble. It blocked a lot of the damage there from LRC from that visor. That visor got no value at all. There's the EMP, gets a couple of hacks, but the sound barrier is really well timed.
Yeah, and no kills off of that somber EMP. Just trying to even things out here, and does so, and with the help of DPS, does make it a 3v3 situation here. And then another one, but Molly with a big bio grenade to shut that Genji down. And now overtime ticking away. They do have just Piggy on the point for LG, as Kami and Lynx are going to get back into the fray. Sober trying to stay alive in the back, can't. Piggy just going to melee him down. Overtime still ticking away. TSL only has one ultimate to work with, but it's DPS's primal rage that will be able to allow them to sustain, but they did get the point nonetheless, and now Kenobi TSL finally on the board.
And Lingon is in an actually weird position here. They only have the nano boost really to use. It's going to go onto JMac. He's going to get a lot of damage done and a lot of ultimate charge. Can he get shush?
He was really looking to just kind of zone away that Genji, and then Lynx will pick up the kill on the DPS. Probably not what LG expected, but they'll take it. 6v5 situation here, and TSL is not going to be dissuaded. They're still on the point, but they're not entirely together. They're somewhat separated. The tank line trying to take advantage of that, going to push them all the way off the point. LRC has another visor, much quicker than last time, but again, trying and failing to get any kills with it. That's another one, 0 for 2. Meanwhile, there's the summer EMP, and 5 members of LGE get caught in it. Now Shush and LRC are going to be able to pick up the kills, and they do. DPS also getting the DMAC onto Piggy, and TSL with a convincing fight win off of that somber EMP.
And MIR is actually someone who we haven't seen before. This is a new addition to the 666 lineup right before playoffs. And there it's a really nice 5-man EMP. It's kind of interesting that this time it's Lingon Esports on the opposite end of a big EMP. But coming into this next fight, they have a lot of ultimates to work with. They're going to have the self-destruct. They have a nano again from Molly. Pulse Bomb from Kami. Can get one of the squishies and they can end this fight pretty quickly. But Shush has that Dragon Blade. Can he do anything with Hager goes down? That's very disastrous.
Yeah, and I don't think LG realizes that the Genji's behind them. Or that Shush has the blade and was going to go behind them. Now Shush is on the point. J-Mac gets the kill on LRC, looking for some more. The Genji's gonna right by him, and he decides to pursue. Meanwhile, Piggy catches the Mercy.
Oh, what a boop.
And wow, that was just completely nullifying. Yeah, good point there. Shush, just unable to do anything. And then J-Mac just ragdolling him to the floor. There's the EMP. And that's only going to catch, I believe, DPS and Raphael, but it's more than enough to shut down TSL. A great bio grenade there from Molly is going to make MIR just absolutely useless. And it looks a lot close. I would say the scoreboard made it look a lot closer, but TSL, after getting routed early, making it a 100-92 game, but LG will come out on top of that first round.
TSL did have some good looks though, and they did. One of the things about Lingon Esports is that they sometimes make a few mistakes, and there you saw 666 Legend was able to capitalize a little bit. You know, Hager getting caught out of position by LRC a couple of times, maybe some coordination not doing the best, but there at the end, 666 Legend unfortunately had such an advantage. They get the kill, and then DPS goes in very deep by himself with Raphael. Raphael gets blown up, and then it's not a 5v6 anymore. It's a 5v5, then a 5v4, and it snowballs back from there. 666 Legend can't take back control of the point, and now going into this next map, 666 Legend are going to stick to what, you know, they brought them, they had on that first map. They're going to be sticking to the DPS compositions, and it worked out pretty well for them. A lot better than usually when we see these teams run goats against Lingon Esports.
Yeah, the only difference now, DPS. But yeah, DPS, I was on the Hammond, I believe, just to start things off, and then went to the Winston. So just starting off on the Winston immediately. But LGE, though, is going to be moving up onto the point, at least on the left side, waiting for TSL to engage, potentially waiting for the point to unlock. As both teams kind of jockeying outside the point here, waiting for either of them to engage. There's the pause. Yeah, so DPS, as you can see, DPS had disconnected. I was wondering to see if they were going to pause or anything. They
waited pretty long for that pause. Maybe they were just like, oh, maybe he'll come back eventually. Maybe
I was thinking TSL was like, we can win this 5v6.
Yeah, 5v6, all the DPS. We don't need a tank.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. DPS is going to be disconnected. We're going to see when DPS will get back into this one. If he's not typing in chat, then we know he really is disconnected. That's for sure.
Yeah.
LG already up around. Kenobi, just quickly so we can chat about this since we have the time. That first round definitely looked a lot closer, or was a lot closer than it initially started out with, and I think that was definitely because we had DPS move over to the Winston, and then they got a little more off of the MIR Sombra ultimate, but ultimately LG still came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, they got it to 99%, and 99% is probably one of the scariest positions in Overwatch League in Overwatch when you're on control, is the fact that, you have just that one fight territory. So any mistake that you make is kind of magnified tenfold. You basically one shot to continue to just reverse sweep this map. You need to use your ult economy well. You need to be positioned well and not be over aggressive. And there, unfortunately, 666 Legend in that last fight where they got the pick first, Raphael goes in very deep again, gets blown up, and then it's a 5v5 when you could have had a 6v5. So I think I want to see 666 Legend use their advantages to their, basically to their advantage, right? I want to see them, keep their advantage, not get too over aggressive and too hyphy when you get that first pick. You can play it slow a little bit, even if you are on a DPS competition.
And there we go. All right, DPS back into it. All right, so not too much of a loss there. It's better to lose one of your players early in the game when they don't have ult charge. So we'll take that. But that is certainly not a great way to start things off for TSL. They've already lost the point. LGE takes control and is already at 10% and gaining here. Meanwhile, even though DPS did go out early, the DPS did have some ult charge. So this is sitting back that Winston quite a bit here as we move on to the next portion of the fight. And already J-Mac and Lengsa getting on the board. J-Mac isolating the Genji from the rest of the team, and that'll help clean things up there. The TSL, that is, LRC, that is. So now LGE in full control here. Kenobi at 30%, and Molly's about to have the nano boost. Kami's about to have the rally, so they're good to go. And J-Mac is just going to get Primal Rage now, so LG has so much to work with going to the next fight.
Yeah, but 666 Legend have a lot themselves. MIR has this EMP available, and EMP here comboed with that Soldier Tac Visor from the high ground could do a lot of damage, especially if there's no Matrix or Primal Rage, because the enemies are EMP'd.
Absolutely. Only 2% away from that one. Haker is certainly behind here in terms of EMP. DPS does get hacked in the meantime. Now we have Raphael also, the Pulse Bomb ready to go. J-Mac has the Primal Rage, going to fall back as LGE is going to cross that 60% threshold, and really TSL is almost being too patient here. LGE is just waiting and waiting for TSL to make the move. Why should they make the first move? They're in control of the point. JMac is going to use the Primal Rage, though, to start disrupting TSL. As LRC's at 32 HP, completely out of the fight, and then gets crushed by JMac. Now Heurix up on top. Shush just to get out of there. 130 HP. Falls back. Has a Dragon Blade still. Going to be helped and bodyguarded here by DPS. But they have to fall back. TSL, like the last map, no presence whatsoever on the point.
And they're holding on to these ultimates for so long here. MIR's had this EMP for a very long time. They can combo with EMP Blade here if they'd like, but Raphael again goes in deep. The blade comes out. It doesn't get anything just yet, but there goes Lengsa.
Yep, 5v4 situation here for TSL, probably the best they've had so far, and the sleep onto DPS, who is using Primal Rage, an absolutely big play there from Molly the Ana from LGE. That was huge to shut down TSL. Overtime ticking away. LRC will get the DMEC onto Piggy, and LRC is really the last bastion here of damage output for TSL for the meantime as Soper goes down. Raphael finds the pulse bomb though on a Piggy. That was big. Can it be enough? No. Kami takes him down, gets sweet revenge onto Raphael almost immediately, and the LRC again running away from the Winston. A story we've seen told already is told yet again. And even Meyer can't get away. MIR can't get away from JMac. Heurix also picks up kill on the DPS, who switched over to Hammond, but it was too little too late. LGE taking a convincing round 2 on Oasis and will take the entire map 2-0. They're up 1-0.
Yeah, and this kind of that second map was more of what we thought was going to happen. You know, some unfortunate issues with the connection there from DPS, but it still looked pretty convincing there for LGE.Huya against that DPS composition. And while I said in the first map, or the first round of Oasis rather, that I liked that Kami was on the Tracer, was on that DPS, there playing Brig is such a good idea because you have, you know, basically against Genji Tracer, what are you going to do against Brigitte? Brigitte was made to stop dives like that. Shush goes in, he dies. Raphael goes in, he dies, gets shield bash blown up by the enemy team. So I think this was a really good, you know, switch and adjustment from LGE to stop this DPS composition, because on that first map, they didn't really have a Brigitte. And I think if they did, it probably would have ended up much better than, you know, the 99-0, which brought back to like 192.
Yeah, absolutely. TSL certainly has the means to bring this back, but LGE, looking as strong as they did in the regular season, remember, this team has the best map differential in the entire season, the highest, you know, the best record. They're 5-0 in their group. They're the best team in the region right now. They only have a single map loss to Flag Gaming, who is the second seed in the group right now. A tie to GZA, who didn't even qualify, which is huge in and of itself. They beat Gen G. Like, LGE is probably looking arguably the best they've ever looked, and certainly the best they've looked in a long time. TSL, though, still floundering, and we're seeing more of that here in the playoffs, unfortunately, for them. So we're going to go to a quick break, though, as we get ready for our second map, but don't go anywhere. More Overwatch Contenders China Season 1 2019 playoffs is coming your way in just a little bit. Welcome back, everybody. We're here for map number 2 between TSL and their opponents LGE, who are up 1-0 in the match series record. We're going over to Eichenwald, as that was TSL's pick. They lost the first map, so they get the pick. And already LGE on defense against TSL. Kenobi, this was TSL's pick. They're going for a composition that is pretty common for them. What are you looking at here?
What I'm looking at here is the decision to play Hamster into Sombra's Heurix, because Heurix, as we know, a very, very good Sombra. We talked him up at the start of the round, and whenever DPS is going in, he's going to have to be very worried about a hack, not unless he goes down, though. That's a nice rocket and follow-up there from DPS on the Heurix.
Yeah, certainly LG should be able to take care of Pharah. That's definitely not an uncommon character here in Contenders China. LRC trying to make as much work get done as possible. They're getting very close to this barrage, and Shush has the Genji ultimate ready to go. So TSL could make a push here. They only have to worry about the nano boost. Piggy still hasn't got a self-destruct just yet. Heurix is a little close to an EMP though, so TSL kind of has to make a move, and they're still hesitating. They're almost waiting just way too long here. And JMac now pushing up here onto the Hammond of DPS. Now at half HP, LRC going down super low. Has an ultimate. So does Raphael. So does Shush. So does Sober, but they're not using any of them. LGE holding on, not having to do much work here, almost at the 2-minute mark, and TSL still only has about half of this point taken, now only a third, but they did get halfway through. There's the EMP though from Meyer and Heurix. They both hit their EMPs at the same time. They both went down. Now TSL is bleeding though. LG looking to clean things up. It's just the Pharah and the Mercy in the air for now. And TSL, after that, unable to do much more, but LRC is still waiting on the far barrage. I'm not entirely sure what LRC is waiting for, but hopefully they use it soon.
And that fight was completely over the place from all of the teams. They are going to get back onto this point. They are going to get close to that second tick. Can't get it just yet. And Hager is going to go down again. Raphael finally gets the better of him. That's a huge pick, Rapture.
Oh, but then Raphael goes down, just as big of a pick. Both teams losing big DPS players there as JMac now looking for the other one. Genji has to get away, but can't get away from JMac. Just the pursuit does double damage. What a play by JMac. Now TSL unable to get onto the point. LRC is still waiting on this barrage. Almost 3 minutes. LRC has had this single ultimate, has yet to use it.
He's kept it for so long. He must be just so incredibly worried about the defense matrix that Piggy is going to have that he just doesn't want to throw it out. 666 Legend have the ultimate advantage going into this fight. The only thing left for LGE.Huya right now is that sound barrier. 666 Legend needs to make something happen. This is 45 seconds, Rapture. This is their last chance.
Yeah, unlike wine, Barrage does not age over time.
Oh.
LRC does pick up Haker, a very quick play there. Now this has to be the cue for LRC to go in. Once they have that Diva use the defense matrix, they got to use the Barrage right now. Otherwise, LG is going to come right back and defend. Langston does pop the sound barrier against Shush's Genji Dragon Blade here, but it won't stop Langston from going down. LRC finds Piggy. This is a 6v4 situation. Haker finds Meyer though, and Haker's getting closer to an EMP. LRC on the point. Still has not used the barrage. Now the Winston going super low there. JMac getting out just in time. Has the Prema Rage ready to go. DPS finds Molly. LRC with the almost uses the barrage. Gets stunned. Falls back. Doesn't hit Q. And the payload does get picked up by TSL in the midst of that fight. And they are still holding on to ultimates that they got like 4 minutes ago, Kenobi. But it's still TSL is able to get that payload rolling.
Yeah, I mean, but now LRC looks like a god because he has like such great ultimate patience, right? And now he has it to combo with the EMP. Like, he looks like a god right now. This is amazing. And as the dive comes in, he gets away, is still holding on to that barrage. Again, they have the EMP to combo with it. This is when I would like to see it be used.
Well, we'll see if TSL even commits to anything right now, because they only have the Valkyrie being popped. Shush goes down to JMax Primal Rage. Mali finds Raphael. Now Piggy looking to try and deal with this one tank of TSL. Gonna wait out the minefield and put some pressure on. Mali steals the kill. And LGE, despite letting that payload get through, it will be getting shut down.
Yeah, and that's kind of the Haker tax, as I like to call it there from Lingon Esports. So, sometimes you're just going to have to eat an EMP. You're going to lose the fight, but you did keep your ultimates. You kept your EMP as well from MIR. Rungchang, or LRC rather, still has this barrage. It's been about 5 minutes since he's had it. I would like to see him use it eventually here.
I wonder what the record is for like the longest hold ultimate. I think LRC pops it just before that record could be broken, but Piggy. Well, that's what you're talking about. LRC was worried about that DPS, that Diva defense matrix and the Diva being there, and then sure enough, he finally uses the ultimate, and the Diva's right there. So
yeah, I mean, if you're MIR there, you have to make sure. Even if you're like, I'd even take like solo EMPing the Diva there, just so that Rungchang or LRC can get some value out of that barrage, because he's been holding on to that barrage for 5 minutes, folks. That's very long time. That's EQO of Overwatch League Grand Finals-esque right there.
And off of that, LRC will move over to the 76. Meanwhile, Myers taking a nap and then gets killed by Haker. LRC trying to put down just this constant stream of damage onto the high ground position of LGE to try and at least make it hard for them to poke and peek a little bit, if not just straight up dislodge them from the high ground. But it's only going to do so much really from that distance. Haker's going to fall back, got a little bit of ult charge there, and getting closer and closer to yet another EMP from that Sombra, while Meyer definitely certainly behind in that race. Raphael throws down the pulse bomb, doesn't find Paydirt. Shush has the Genji blade ready to go and is going to use it alongside the Valkyrie. Gets a kill on the Molly, but JMac returns fire. 5v5 situation. Now JMac looking for the other Winston, and they're going to come out on top unless they can shift out in time. DPS trying to get away. JMac will use the prime rate, but can't pick up the kills. DPS uses their own as well. Raphael gets hacked. EMP from Haker, and it's just so much damage from LGE that TSL is getting absolutely bodied as overtime ticks away. Sober gets the res, but LRC doesn't have the burst damage to really try and change the tide of this event here. At this point, LGE is just waiting for that overtime candle wick to burn out. LGE with a big hold here on TSL, far and away from that second checkpoint. And we're going to bring in lafon to talk about it real quick. Kenobi, quick thoughts with over to lafon.
Yeah, I mean, I think I want to hear LaFon's thoughts on these compositions, because we talked about, Triple Six Legend being a 3-3 team, and now they're just playing DPS. What's going on?
A mistake, in my opinion, because this is TSL from week 1. I said that at the break, or I said that at the top, and I'm gonna say it again here. TSL at week number 1 were playing compositions that were strange, right? They were playing Wrecking Ball with a 3-3, then they'd play DPS, and it just didn't look good. Then they cemented themselves as a 3-3 team in patch 1.32, right? That's where they played their strengths, that's where they looked pretty good, and that's where they took maps off of teams. Here, they switch again to the DPS composition, and frankly, look terrible. There is no other word for it. I really personally do not like saying that about a team, right? But I don't think that tempo-wise, TSL has anything going for them. They don't have composition-wise anything going for them. Like, how long? We talked about LRC keeping the barrage for 5 minutes. At that point, you may as well not have an ultimate. Like, that's what it comes down to. You're not, if you're Piggy, you're not worrying about, blocking damage. He's too afraid to use it. And so then it becomes a mental block against your own team rather than an advantage. So I think here for TSL, when you're going, at this point, looking like you're going to go down 2 maps to 0 in a best of 5, play what you were already proven to be strong at, right? Play that 3-3 composition and try play control. Like, I know China is very much considered a DPS region, but there's a reason why the best teams are still playing 3-3 in this patch, and that's because it is still a very good composition.
Well, we'll see if TSL can break that out. They're working with something here, that's for sure, and they gotta now hold off LGE, who doesn't have to complete the map. Kenobi, look at this composition for TSL.
It's Baptiste. It's Baptiste. This is the first Baptiste that we're going to be seeing here in China from Triple Six Legend. They're going to be playing this bunker composition, and against the Sombra, this is going to be a bit of a dicey situation. They're kind of on a clock right now where you need to be able to be very careful for Haker in getting that EMP, because once he gets that EMP and he goes to the bunker and gets a lot of those people in that confined area, it's going to be disastrous. I like this rotation that they're making. They're able to hack DPS already. MIR is getting dangerously low. He goes out of mech. That's brutal.
And you can see the value from this push too. Raphael really doesn't have any good sightline until until Kami and JMac decide to throw themselves in the line of fire. But until that point, Raphael didn't really have a good sightline on the flanker, so it was working out for LGE. Unfortunately, they overextend right into the Bastion's line of fire, and so TSL will be able to hold on defense for that 1 minute so far of LGE's push.
And so let's just talk about Baptiste a little bit. Baptiste as a character offers a lot of healing, offers a lot of damage as well at the same time, and also offers Immortality Field. That's really what you're going to be looking out for. Can, the side of LGE.Huya burst down that Immortality Field quick enough? There's the Nano right onto him. Raphael isn't going to be down low. He has that Immortality Field available to him.
Yeah, went to 60 HP and immediately bolstered right back up here. Has the Bastion ultimate, lets it loose. LRC gets on the board as well. TSL in full control here, but LGE hasn't gotten that win condition just yet. Haker is just about now getting the EMP, and as you said, one fat EMP on that bunker composition of TSL. They're already all grouped up, ready to go for an EMP. One of those could completely slay this TSL roster.
TSL does have Nano Boost available to them, though, so they could put it onto Raphael, make sure that he stays alive through the EMP that's going to be coming inevitably from Lingon Esports here. And they also have that gate from Shush, but there is a really good pick there onto LRC.
That EMP from Haker finds Raphael, MIR, and DPS. That's exactly what LGE needed to break through the defensive composition of TSL. Now TSL holding on by a thread. Just Raphael and Sober, the last ones remaining in the mire. Going down, MIR losing their Diva mech and then losing their lives. So LGE gets that first point pickup. Now going to be on the road to that checkpoint, that little VIP golden box. They have 4 minutes and change to do it.
Yeah, and wholesale swaps here coming out from TSL. They're going to be switching Raphael back onto the Tracer. DPS goes over to Winston. Shashia is going to go over to the Ana. I expected that, you don't really have Baptiste here in a situation where you don't have a bunker composition, but Lingon have a lot of ultimates to their name. There is Bob, though, available, though, still for LRC.
Yeah, but if there's one, nice sleep there onto the Winston.
Oh.
If there's one character, though, that we've certainly seen throughout Contenders China that's been a bit underwhelming, it has been Ashe. Ashe has really come out at times and hasn't been very effective. We've seen her picked a lot on Horizon Lunar Colony for defensive compositions, even on offense sometimes, but we are seeing a little bit of work done until Kami Dragon Blades down LRC's Ashe. Haker also D-Max the Diva, and then Kami picks up the kill. And at that point right here, LGE, there's no one there for TSL to stop them. LGE convincingly picks up another map win on Eichenwald. They're now up 2-0. They are on game set match point right now. Or really just match point here. They win one more map and they will move on to the semis. We're gonna bring LaFon in one more time here.
He was just here. Like
He
that
was
was really quick.
He was just
That
here.
was
LaFon,
really quick.
We just talked to you like, I don't know, 60 seconds ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what has changed in the world of fun in those 60 seconds?
Well, there's a 2 on the board instead of a 1. I think that's a pretty big deal for LGE.Huya. One of the things I have to say though is we don't bring this up a whole lot on broadcast because there's a lot of reasons why compositions are run in certain places. But running bunker composition in that certain engagement on Eichenwald of all places is TSL's downfall. Like there's a reason we don't often see that bunker setup on this map. It's because the sight lines to be able to get in to shutting down the bastion is actually pretty easy. You've got that vertical clock tower literally right beside the point. You can build rotations up, and obviously for LGE with a Sombra that's as good as Haker is, 1 EMP is all you really need to unlock the point, and there's nothing else you can do. So I think for TSL, they're grasping at straws, and that's not what you want to see from a playoff team. You want to have some sort of confidence coming through, and unfortunately, that's LRC's first barrage.
Yeah, 5-minute barrage.
Right, not exactly what we call high value. And here, I mean, like TSL literally mows down a JMac as he walks into line of sight of Bastion. What are you gonna do? So, even then, it's been problematic for TSL. And here, heading into map number 3, hope is pretty low for me in terms of being able to see a composition that even makes sense, much less will perform well.
And I think go ahead.
No,
Rapture.
you go ahead. Sure.
I think something I really want to see from TSL, even if it's their last, I want to see them play 3-3. Like we haven't seen them play 3-3. 3-3 is their best composition by far.
Yeah.
They're bringing out, bunker. They're bringing out DPS compositions. That's not what brought you here. And while there are changes don't matter if you're not playing what you're best at, and I think what you're best at here for 666 Legend is the 3-3 goats composition.
I think so far, to add on to that, I think what we're seeing right now is a team that has heard that DPS is back in play, DPS the class and not the not the player, but have not understood why it works. And this is not something we've said this season about China. We've talked about this region growing in terms of talent, in terms of understanding the game, and right now I feel like TSL just has forgotten, actually not even forgotten, has literally thrown away all that work because they looked good on 3-3 at certain points, and the fact that they're going to DPS and making themselves weaker for no real reason is a real head scratcher for me.
The thing about it too is that China as a region usually is very kind of slow to adapt to the other metas in the region. You have always meta, when it was season 2, when everyone else is playing, goats and runaways, winning, Korean contenders, you have China who's still playing double sniper DPS dive compositions. They didn't really take liking to Brigitte that quickly. You have these times where one team and one player will, bring out something new. Ameng, for instance, one of the first people to ever play Wrecking Ball, who was Vanessa back on Moss 7 Club, didn't work out that great. He looks a lot better now than he did back then. But China, I think, has always been a region where it's always, we're going to play our style, our meta. And this is not 666 Legends meta. Their meta was the 3-3.
Right, but the thing is, though, the team that would think would switch to the DPS is still playing Goats. LGE is still playing Somber Goats.
Yeah.
So
they're good at it.
They're good at it, and you play what you're good at. I feel TSL, after the half here, you have to go with what you're good at. There's no other choice. That's literally all you've got.
Yeah. You've tried everything else. Like, there's no... Just go back to 3-3. One last ride.
And then we saw, finally, Baptiste making an appearance here. Probably not the most optimal position to be.
He honestly had
no
effect whatsoever on the game.
Yeah. What do you think about that play?
I'll let LaFon go on this one because actually, LaFon, I want to hear what you think about his positioning because he was on the other side.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not the right place for it. If you're going to play Baptiste, you have to know that you can heal your team, you can stay alive, and you can use the immortality to great effect. None of those happened. Eichenwald is not the right... The way they're positioned specifically, too. It's like, Baptiste is a very cool hero. It just... oh, man, I have nothing. Baptiste was the wrong thing.
So how do you work him into a composition, then? In your opinion?
You can use him as a sort of replacement where the immortality field gives you the advantage in terms of a team fight where you can't die, and then you can use it, sort of a soft counter to EMP if you toss it out properly, if you play away from your team. And he obviously the amplification matrix is so very valuable. It doubles your damage. It's a lot of damage coming through. And healing. So there is definitely useful places for it, and we've seen players do very well with it. Think San Francisco Shock in terms of Rascal. But I think right now TSL are so lost in general in terms of their team compositions that Baptiste just ends up being just another place where they kind of fail.
Well, TSL does not have much more room to fail here. They're already down 2 maps and LGE needs one more to take the series. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, map number 3 between LGE and TSL here in quarterfinals of Overwatch Contenders China, Season 1, 2019, will be coming back to you in just a short moment. Is TSL versus LGE, and this is Overwatch Contenders China Season 1 2019 quarterfinals match number 1. I am Rapture, still here with Kenobi. We'll probably bring in Lafon in a little bit, but we have to go to our map first because it's time for Volskaya.
Rapture, come on, don't count your chickens before they hatch, my man. You can't be doing that. He could come at, you know, we could go to game 5. You never know.
The thing is, I want to bring him in now because it's cold. I know Lafon's from Canada. He'd feel right at home here.
Yeah.
I think things are going to heat up on our third match because TSL, they have to play for their tournament season playoff. Everything lives right here. They lose right here, they're done for this season of Contenders China. So everything is on the line for TSL. Meanwhile, LGE, they got to win one more. They could drop a couple maps and they're still all good. One of the strongest, if not the best team in the region right now. And look at that, LRC already getting battered down. It's already a 6v4 situation here for LGE, and that's a complete wipe.
You know, maybe Rapture, you can start counting those chickens because they are on DPS, and again, we've been talking about how we want to see them on their 3-3 composition, and this is just playing right now into the hands of Lingon Esports, right? Every time they're playing these DPS compositions, Kami's now on the brig, so you can't dive in with Raphael, you can't dive in with Shush, you're gonna get hacked here from Haker, and DPS right now is just a ultimate battery for EMP for Haker.
Yeah, Haker getting so much off of DPS. Now getting a bunch off of this defense of the healing room, and now they're going to fade back and look for another opportunity here. Meanwhile, TSL, about 3 minutes and change on the clock. They really haven't shown much for it. I mean, they're still pretty low on ultimate charge. MIR is really still only halfway to an EMP. TSL not only making very little headway here, but they're not getting much ult charge. They're not getting positioning. LG in full control of the point. They have some high ground positioning here. Piggy's on the point right now. Molly finds MIR. More time being chewed off the clock here for TSL. And Raphael is probably, and Shush, probably going to be the first ones to get ultimate charge all the way here. But it's not going to be enough to turn the tide of this fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is just really for the side of Triple Six Legend, you know, go Goats, bro. Please, just one time, bro. I want to see you go Goats because that is your best composition, and they're just not playing this composition well. MIR is getting caught up by himself. LRC making mistakes as well. They're going to have this EMP blade available to them, but based on what I've seen so far, it's not going to really do anything. Their ultimates haven't gotten any value so far. Why should anything change now? LGE.Huya is playing so well around it.
We'll see who comes out on top in terms of EMPs here as Haker and MIR have theirs ready to go. Raphael, though, gets the party started with the pulse bomb. And then the EMP, though, from Haker hits 4 members of TSL, but the biggest target was MIR, who also got caught in the EMP. What a play there from Haker. And then the hack onto Shush just for good measure. Haker literally 1v6ing TSL right there. A 4-player EMP, the hack onto the Dragon Blade and Genji. A 1-player army right there, completely shutting down TSL on their own.
And TSL used a lot of ultimates in that last fight. You used your EMP, you used your Dragon Blade, 1 minute and 30 seconds left against Lingon Esports, who's going to have a lot of ultimates available to them. MIR has to probably charge the fastest EMP of his life here to even have them have a chance to get this fight won. DPS does have this primal, so they are going to have some sustain on the point, but LRC cannot die here.
LRC has the visor ready to go for Season 2 2019 of Overwatch Contenders China. DPS going to have a bunch of, a lot of damage done there with the Primal Raging Winston, but does get hacked. LGE, though, has lost half their squad, and then Piggy, who literally just got self-destruct, is going to go down, or at least was about to. Just goes down, and TSL not going to be full held here, which might have been the expectation coming into this one. Only about 40 seconds on the clock, but they do get that point A capture. There it is. 4 minutes and 40 seconds now on the clock for them as they push towards point B.
And what did we say at the start of the round, at the start of the map, or start of the series, Rapture? We said that DPS has to have the game of his life, and there really shows his stuff. He's that huge primal, gets a lot of kills, basically by himself wins that point for Triple Six Legends. So good job from DPS. A lot of ultimates though from Lingon Esports in this next fight. Triple Six Legends is gonna have to fight very hard to get this point unlocked.
Really, the biggest problem here is Hager has the EMP, and in fact, LGE has 5 of their 6 total ults here, so TSL has so much of a storm to weather. Piggy finds DPS before the fight even really gets going. We really didn't even get to see how DPS got in there, might have overextended. Now Hager, all the way in the back, helps Molly take out the Sombra, and look at this, LGE, without even using ultimates, just very easily, very effortlessly taking care of and picking apart TSL one by one.
Yeah, and this is really the best case scenario for Ling on Esports. If you can continue to win these fights vanilla without sacking your ult economy, that's going to be the best case scenario. Now, 666 Legend coming back into this next fight, they're going to have some ultimates for themselves. They have the EMP. MIR needs to hit a big one here. Raphael needs to not die. He uses recall. Ooh, that's very close. If that sleep could have hit, that would have been disastrous.
Yeah, Raphael putting themselves up against the edge, up against the corner there for pretty much no real good reason. J-Mac is going to push up, has the nano boost on them. Still 5 of their 6 ultimates for LGE and TSL, the same position here, except DPS is way ahead of Molly. So LGE knows they really just need to hold on to these ultimates for when TSL commits to theirs. The problem is, as we know, TSL doesn't commit very often. And that's going to be a Hager EMP. It only hits MIR and DPS, but those are really the only 2 it needed to hit. Unfortunately for LGE, though, the Sombra for TSL does not go down as a result of that EMP, so MIR still has their own Sombra EMP. They're ready to go. Now, LGE in a bit of a bad spot here. They don't have a direct counter to this Sombra EMP. They got to stay separated, they got to stay mobile, and then have that counterplay ready to go in the form of their 4 remaining ults.
Yeah, you're going to have to be really careful here, like you said, for Ling on East. Can't let this EMP get paid. Raphael goes down again by himself. They're going to have to reset. That's definitely what you don't want, Rapture.
TSL, so often they're their own worst enemy. They're ready to go for a fight, and then one of their players dies before the fight gets going. They got to reset. Ready for the next fight. Happens again. They got to reset again. I mean, look at this. TSL has been sitting on all these ultimates for so long, and 2 minutes they've lost. I mean, they've spent like over 2.5 minutes now just jockeying outside the point without really committing. And LGE, you can see they haven't needed to commit either because TSL won't.
Okay.
Raphael, though, finally does. There's the pull. That Bree. How did Bree get all the way up there? Just waiting. Piggy will find Shush with that self-destruct, and now a 4v4 situation as the tank line for LG picking up the slack. And now TSL still did not commit. They didn't use everything. They went in, but they held on to the EMP. They held on to the visor. They held on to the Primal Rage. And so TSL again finds themselves going back to the drawing board with nothing to show for it, no capture whatsoever on point B.
And I actually really like that self-destruct there from Piggy, understanding that he hears the sound cue for the Dragon Blade and just throws it up in the air. Genji's not going to have that dash reset available to him, so he just gets blown up by the self-destruct, and then you lose a lot of your damage. MIR here is just playing in the back, trying to sneak around with the Sombra, has this EMP available still. What can they combo with? LRC, again, has been holding onto this attack visor for a very, very long time.
Yeah, waiting for a good opportunity to use it. There's a 3-piecer EMP from MIR. That could be enough to take out LGE. Piggy getting caught in the corner, gets D-Macked, gonna go down, doesn't go down actually. LRC and MIR go down instead. LGE was at such a disadvantage in that fight. TSL got 3 players hacked, took out the tank line, and LGE still able to come back and defend. TSL didn't even get a third of point B, despite that being their most successful fight on the map so far.
And, you know, say whatever you want about Brig as a character, but Kami's had actually a really nice series and a nice play so far. And, oh my god, is it going to happen? Is 666 Legend going to switch to GOATs? They are! They went GOATs, bro, with 30 seconds left in their playoff lives, but they finally do it. Let's see if they can get anything done.
That, honestly, I honestly didn't expect that. I did not think TSL would actually
Why
go
now?
GOATs,
Why now?
I guess it's better late than never. TSL, with no ultimate charge to speak of, is going to push up with Goat's comp and is going to immediately take a ton of shots. I mean, Hager's waiting with the EMP. DPS goes down. They've lost their main tank. Now they got to make sure their Diva doesn't go down because Raphael is super, super low. MIR gets stunned, gets hacked, gets D-Macked. It's just a hard life out here for tanks, even if you're the ones who are Goats. J-Mac looking for some more damage. Raphael takes the kill, or gets killed by Piggy. Hager finds one MIR. Overtime ticking away. TSL getting closer and closer to finally getting the necessary ultimates, but they got to survive against this self-destruct, and they do. LRC with the immediate rally to try and keep TSL in this one, but they're trying to salvage the remains of a fight, and they might be squandered as LGE brings out the Bastion and is mowing them down, but Sober gets the kill. It's not enough, though. And it will be the map completion. or the map hold there. It is for LG on TSL.
Yeah, and actually, I think we're gonna bring in LaFon to talk about what we just saw there. I think from 666 Legend.
Yeah.
saw
So here's a fun
goats.
fact.
We
Here's
saw
a fun
goats.
fact. Here's a fun fact about Overwatch. Ultimate Economy is the most important thing you can have. And when you switch at 30 seconds left, fun fact, you won't get ult economy. You just can't. I will say though,
I don't know if that's a fun fact. It's a fact. I don't know if it's
It is
fun.
well for LG.
Depending
it's
on
fun anyway.
what side you're
right,
on. Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, I was just gonna say we've been talking about TSL for a long time because frankly, it's been TSL losing the series more than LGE winning it. But I think we have to give credit to LGE in terms of how they're playing around TSL not playing. And what that comes down to is that we highlighted DPS at the start of this match, right? DPS had to have the play of his life, and I don't think he has. He had one point where he looked really, really good, point Able Sky, and that's why they unlocked it. But after that, it's been all over the place. And part of that comes down to the fact that Haker has literally not allowed DPS to play the game. Every time he tries to engage, the hack is there. So what we identified as being the win condition for TSL, LGE did as well, and have done their homework and have just basically prevented DPS from doing anything whatsoever. And with no support from his cast, with no support from his team, DPS has just been taken down time and time again.
Yeah, it's been hard to watch. We want TSL to kind of go goats maybe a little earlier than that. Thanks for that, LaFon. And now LGE, they're on offense. They've got 4 minutes to work with. All they have to do is capture point A and then just get a small percentage of point B, and they will be moving on to the semifinals here in Overwatch Contenders China Season 1 2019 playoffs. TSL, they have to not only full hold here, they need to win an additional 2 maps to win this set. So TSL is about to climb Mount Everest if they can certainly do it. They're going with the Baptiste back again. This is the composition that they're pretty much running on Eichenwald, and they're going to try and make it work here.
Yeah, and we're going to see the bunker again from them. It didn't work as well on Eichenwald. It worked a couple of times. That was when LGE kind of just walked into the sidelines here of the Bastion. Raphael is going to get dove on, but he's totally fine because of the healing that he's going to get. There's so much healing available with the Baptiste and the Ana and the Immortality field that he's going to get Piggy already.
And this is a conspicuous part of the map for Bastion really to sit on there. Actually does have a lot of opportunities to cut off any flanker, but still actually has like a tiny bit of cover with that right side wall. So that was a good position for TSL to pick up there, and they do get the full wipe. But LGE, of course, shouldn't be stressing. They've only lost a minute on the clock. They still have a bunch more to work with, and of course, once Haker gets that EMP, that could be enough to wipe out TSL.
But Haker hasn't charged it as quickly as I would have liked. It's kind of hard at this point where against this bunker composition to really charge up EMP as quickly if you're playing against something like, Goats, where you have these heavy, these heavy tanks to just farm that off of. But here, he's only 64% to it. The amplification matrix comes out, and it's going to be able to heal that Bastion up nice and well. But he goes down.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big loss. That's their hugest damage dealer here for TSL. Now LRC is nano boosted, but they don't have the visor ready just yet, so they gotta hit these shots. And once again, the old rival for 76, that Winston JMac, immediately coming in and shutting them down. Kami will steal the kill, but of course JMac did so much of that damage that he really couldn't ignore it. TSL now are forced to fall back. If not, they're gonna hit the graveyard because LGE has completed point A.
And that is a mistake you cannot be allowed to have happen in this fight. You cannot let your Bastion die when you have Nano available to you. They didn't have EMP or anything. Nano was the only thing that was going to keep it alive, and you just let him get blown up by Kami on that Genji. And now, with 5 minutes and 38 seconds, Lingon Esports need to take 1 point and 1 tick of this last point. They have available to them the Nano EMP blade, which can just win them this fight outright. The Supercharger comes out from DPS to kind of just make sure that Lingon Esports doesn't just roll onto the point for free.
Well, LGE, they might be able to roll in with the EMP as it hits 4 members of TSL. Now Kami looking for a huge Dragon Blade, but there are a few targets to pick from. So many have already gone down. LRC gets killed. There it is. LGE in full control. TSL are waving goodbye to their final moments here in Contenders China Season 1 2019. There it is. LGE are your Match 1 quarterfinals winner there, as they will be moving on the first semi-finalist here in Contenders China Season 1 2019 playoffs. Congrats to LGE. They will be moving on after that 3-0 victory over TSL. We're going to bring in LaFon one more time. I counted my chickens. They hatched at the appropriate time.
They
Kenobi, Okay,
Yes,
I know my
okay.
dairy. I know my dairy.
I'm lactose intolerant, so
Wait,
fair.
chickens, dairy.
Make eggs, which are dairy.
No, no, that's not how that
Thank-
works. That's not how that works.
Thanks. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next. Lafon.
more you know.
That's what Lingon definitely said.
Yeah. What was? All right. So that kind of, I think that set kind of spoke for itself.
It
But,
really did.
It
really
was
did.
expected, but
It
I
was
didn't expect
expected.
it to go
I think,
that
yeah.
way.
Right.
How-
I think.
how- Yeah. Keep going.
Guys, I was gonna basically echo Kenobi's point. I think it's expected that LG wins on. I think or moves on, and I think it's expected that they win that handily. I think what's not expected is that TSL kind of just dropped down. They fell over. They I don't want to say they gave up because they didn't. They definitely tried, but it, you know, at some point, you know, a hard work done wrong is not useful, right? If I try and run a marathon, but I'm training for weightlifting, then clearly something is wrong there. And for TSL, it felt like that a lot of the times that there was no synchronization. They're running triple or quad DPS, and they kind of left themselves out. I felt like they lost sight of what made them get into playoffs, right? And then it just kind of fell from there. So I mean, for TSL, the marker of this match is going to be the fact that we talked about LRC so much, and oftentimes with a number beside beside his name in terms of minutes, and that's like, if you're gonna, ult economy just wasn't there, efficiency wasn't there, engagements weren't there. I think I could go down the list at a very surface level and find a ton of things that TSL did wrong, but what it comes down to is that as a team, TSL did not perform, and they did not perform in a way that we did not expect. We expected TSL to perform the way they did in the regular season, which, certainly middling of the road team, but had bright moments. And I don't think we saw any of that from TSL here today.
And it kind of looked like they didn't really. It didn't look as clean as like their goats. Their goats looked a lot better, even for like the.
Even for the 30 seconds,
they looked so much better than just Raphael on Tracer going in and just dying to Haker or dying to Kami because he blows him up with Brigitte. I think you really, I mean, I don't want to harp on this too much, but I think I really would have liked to have seen them play Ghost a little bit longer. Especially, we got that one like taste of it, and it looked pretty decent. You know, it didn't look like it could have. It maybe might not have won the entire map, but they had a nice fight there at the end. Yeah. So I would have liked to have seen them play that.
They were winning that fight too. They stepped off the point because of the Bastion, but they were winning that fight out.
And just so many mistakes, you know, they didn't, like with Bunker specifically, like you have Nano and then you don't Nano your Bastion gets blown up. Like things like that can't be happening, and EMP's not getting value, things like that. And Lingon really is just, as a team, looks better on paper, and they're definitely able to punish you for those types of moments.
Yeah, but I think here we got to talk about Lingon too, because they're moving on. They're getting to that semifinal berth where they're one match away from Showdown. From Showdown, and that's kind of the highlight there for sure. So I think for Lingon, this is the expectation. They have very, very high hopes. I think you, Kenobi, pegged them as being the best team in China right now. And I think they're certainly, showing with their efficiency, their consistency, that they deserve to be in that conversation.
Absolutely.
But a few mistakes still. A few mistakes from LGE, which, against a better team might be punished. So I want to see them tighten that up just a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good way to frame it. Let's look at it this way. This is, like you said, there are Pacific Showdown seeds and positions on the line here in this playoff bracket. How do you think this set kind of bodes for LG going into the next round? Because LG is going to have much tougher competition in the next round. So how do you think, like, coming from this set, like, is LG, like, should they look better? Like, how do you think this kind of frames
LG has not proven anything to me yet. I don't think
this isn't a game where you, like,
we didn't see if they could be tested. I saw a ton of mistakes from LGE that were very punishable by even BLG from last week, right? I think that Billy, they struggled in their group in their last match against T1W, but coming in here, I don't think, like, Lingon, there's moments where I was like, do they really need to engage against TSL like that? Do they need to give up space? And so I think against a better team, with teams that have more research, that are going to punish you a lot quicker, there's still a ton of question marks in here. I have to be honest with you.
Yeah, this isn't really a game I think you kind of look at as like being a test for LGE. I mean, we said coming in probably a 3-0, and again, they're playing against a DPS composition that even I think TSL didn't really have that great of a run on, because they've been playing 3-3s throughout most of the regular season. So I think against like a BLG, against like a T1W, that's when you're really going to see where LGE is going to shine, and where you can actually see them if they're going to be tested or not. Is this Somber Goats, is it good enough to go all the way? Is it able to beat T1W? Is it able to beat Billy Gaming? It did next. but Next is different, and it wasn't able to beat T1W. T1W played pretty well against it.
Yep.
So LGE has a lot of questions still left in them, and
I think
with the mistakes that we've seen, they need to clean it up.
I think the biggest question for me has got to be Haker, because they play around his EMP timings, they play around his Sombra, and with how quickly, or in all honesty, the opposite, how slowly he built it today. If you're not building EMP every fight against a team that's of an equivalent skill level to you, it's going to be very problematic coming into the semifinals.
It was
Absolutely.
DPS compositions though, so
It
it's
was
not like,
DPS compositions, yes.
it's not like GOATs where you just have like, you know, a diva
Sure.
to kind of just like throw like.
But I mean, MIR kind of outfarmed him at times, and
Yes.
for basically an unknown in this scene to be outplayed by a Sombra on a team that is losing that badly, you gotta have questions at that point.
Well, we'll see if those questions get answered in their semi-final bout. They have earned it. LG did make it with a 3-0 victory over TSL. We have another match coming your way, though. Definitely stick around because we have one more here in Overwatch Contenders China. It will be Team CC versus Bilibili Gaming. The winner of that will play LGE. So you want to see who LGE is going to be up against. You want to watch this next set. Those two winners will be playing in semifinals. I have been Rapture here with Kenobi and lafon. Don't go anywhere, though. More Overwatch Contenders China Season 1 2019 quarterfinals matches are coming your way. Again, Team CC versus Bilibili Gaming, an Academy matchup you certainly won't want to miss. Don't go anywhere. More Overwatch Contenders China will be coming your way after this break.